This interview is brought to you in association with Rabobank.
Hi there, and welcome to another edition of Rural Delivery Online, where we talk to the people who matter in New Zealand's primary sector. Now, this week I'm with Colin Grainger Allen. Colin's a share milker out of Rotorua, and the man behind hashtag AgChatNZ. That's the premier Twitter conversation for anyone who's interested in New Zealand agriculture. Colin's got nearly 3,000 followers and has written nearly 9,000 tweets to date. Colin, good to talk to you.
Good day, Roger. How are you?
I'm very well, Colin. Colin, we can assume there are 3,000 people who know what we're talking about, but others may not. Twitter, what is it? Why are you on it?
Twitter is a social media platform where people can go on and post tweets about anything they feel like. And, you just create a Twitter profile and you just go for it and start talking to people. I use it to tell the NZ farming story, and I've been on there about 3 years now.
So I can assume most people have heard of Twitter. They probably think it's something that Kanye West or others are up to, a Hollywood celebrity thing, but essentially we're talking about 140 characters, basically a tweet. You send it out there into the ether, anyone can see it, and indeed anyone can respond to it. What on earth has that got to do with farming?
That's right, yeah. So, about 3 or 4 years ago, I got on Twitter and started looking at using it for farming and talking to other farmers. And I started looking at, who was on there. And there was very few New Zealand farmers at the time. So I started talking to farmers all over the world, so in America, UK, Australia, and all over the world. And I just, picked on one or two people I already knew on there and started following who they followed and just tried to build up that way. And then I decided that, there were some great stories being told out there in different countries about, their farming practice and how they were doing things. So I decided that, New Zealand needed somebody like this. So I decided, right, NZ Cows is going to be my handle. And I just started telling the New Zealand story, not New Zealand farming story.
Okay, so NZ Cows is how people find you. That's your name, your Twitter email address, effectively, for those who are not in the know. And a hashtag, we need to explain what that is. So a hashtag is simply a hash sign before a name or what have you. Then that allows people to search through Twitter and see certain conversations. Now, you're the man behind hashtag AgChatNZ. That's actually a global phenomenon. There are ag chats in other countries around the world. Tell us how that works.
So when I first went on there, one of the ways I started to communicate with the farmers is there's something called hashtag AgChat, and that one's an American one. That one's been around the longest. And what they do is they meet once a week at a predetermined time on Twitter. So every I think it's a Thursday night, they meet at 8 o'clock at night. And they use the hashtag to tolerate so everybody can see the conversation. It doesn't matter whether you follow particular people. If you use that hashtag, you will be able to see it. And the same with the UK. That one's been going a couple of years. So around the world it's been going for a while. And 4 of us here in New Zealand decided that, New Zealand really needed to get on board with this. We're demographically, spread all over the country, farmers. And broadband is in most places now, and people were getting more connected. And we decided that we really like this for New Zealand farmers.
So what sort of information is being shared? And I should say here that the New Zealand conversations happen on a Wednesday night. You effectively tune in from your cell phone or your laptop or your iPad or whatever it is, and you can join a conversation based around usually a weekly a different topic. So what are the sort of things people are discussing, and what sort of effect is it happening in terms of being able to share their thoughts about farming or their ideas about the sector in such a simple and straightforward way from the couch, literally?
That's right, Roger. It's a bit like the old discussion groups where we used to go down to the paddock, and stand around in the cold. Well, we can do this from, like you say, the comfort of our living rooms. So it's very similar in the way it works. So at 8 o'clock, we all meet on there, and we say where we're from and what we're doing. And then every 15 minutes, we post a new question. So we have a topic for the week that we try and choose that's going to get people engaged and talking about. So it's topical things usually. Every 15 minutes we post a new question. So and then people then reply to that question. And then you get side conversations go off from that people then start talking to each other about things. So they might have made a comment about something, and then there's a side conversation. So we try and pick out things like we've done Brand New Zealand, we've done getting young people into agriculture, we've done different farming systems. So we've done low and high input farming systems, and we've looked at a couple of different things. We've looked at cropping farms and their issues about what they're having problems with. And it's just a great way for people to, and it's good to gauge people's, reaction about things. We talked about quad-bait safety and health and safety the other day, and it's great to get an idea of what people are doing out there on farm.
Now, of course, you can share more than just these very brief messages. You can share links and photographs. And this is a very global thing too. Now, I know those conversations are taking place within the New Zealand context, but it's important to remember that somebody in rural Dorset or in rural Missouri might also be able to, or might also be looking at those conversations and learning too. So this is an international conversation as well as a national one.
That's right, yeah. I mean, you can talk to people anywhere in the world, and you quite often find you do get conversations with people, and especially, they're really interested in what's happening in New Zealand. They talk about milk price, they talk about our farming systems. I talked to Ryan the other day about, why do we seasonally calve all our cows at one time of year? What are the benefits from that? And in a lot of countries, people don't really understand. It's still quite foreign to a lot of those guys. You can tell the story and learn from them too, and go, well, gee, what's your milk price doing? And you get a bit of a global feel for what's happening then. And quite often they're having the same issues as we are here.
And there's nothing to stop somebody standing there in the paddock and having a decision to make, or having a question around something that they're doing in their farming practice, and in fact firing that out into the ether as well, and just seeing what the global community has to offer on that topic.
Absolutely. I've done that many times. I've been at the paddock and had a problem, or something's going wrong, or you're out on the tractor for a couple of hours, you stop the smoker, and you sat there on your own, and you think, oh, gee, I wonder what somebody else is doing. Wonder how they're getting on making silage at the moment. And you can have a conversation. And that's the great thing is it connects you with people quite quickly. I think sometime on farm, you're there, following the cows or doing something like that, and you think, I wish I could talk to somebody, and it allows you to do that quite easily.
The very best social networks, the people who study these phenomenon really, are those which connect people not just in a digital sense, but also tie in with physical networks, real meetings, real events. How does that work for AgChat NZ?
So we, like at the last field days, we tried to meet up every day at 3 o'clock. We said that anybody that's on Twitter and at the field days, come and meet up. And after a while, you talk to someone, on Twitter for a while, and eventually you want to meet that person behind the face, meet them in real life, and that's that's the real part of it. Is it's all about networking and meeting people at the end of the day. And it's good to remember that it is real people behind at the end of those things. So it's really good to do that now and again. And we're any big event that goes on in New Zealand, we're going to try and be there and meet up.
It's important, I guess, to remember that Twitter can be used for anything. You can choose what you choose to put, what you put out there under your handle, and you can have more than one handle if you want to separate things. So it's entirely possible to have a very professional handle, and a name or an account that you use to talk about farming. But you could also have a separate one to talk about how much you love cricket or rugby or duck shooting or whatever it might be. And this is not opening up your life. This is something that you have a high degree of control about what you put into the system. But once it's in that system, it is therefore open. No, it's democratized in terms of knowledge, and people can and will respond accordingly.
That's right. People can. That's right. You can, and that's why Twitter are trying to be professional. We keep it farming related and not too personal. And I use Facebook for the more personal stuff. So keeping in touch with family and friends, I use Facebook for that kind of thing. So you're right. It is a very open platform for Twitter. People can find what you've tweeted about quite easily and go back. There might be something I said 2 years ago that people can easily go back and find. It's all there to see. So you have to be very careful what you say. But I don't want to put people off. At the end of the day, people are, polite, and I've never had any trouble with Twitter with trolling or anything like that. So yeah, but you like you say, you can choose what you put on your profile. So if you put on your profile that you're into one thing, you will generally attract those people and that interest.
In terms of where this could go from here, what do you think, in 20 years' time, what role do you think that these digital social networks will be playing across agriculture, not just in New Zealand, but around the world? At the moment, they're relatively nascent. What do you think people will be achieving through them if we sort of look into a crystal ball?
That's a big question. Yeah, I think they will grow. I think both Twitter and Facebook have sort of, stood the test of time. And I think going into the future, they will, develop more, and more and more people will use them, and that's happening even now. More and more people are having a profile on there, and I think they will use it more and more. And I don't know where it would go. I mean, it might be that instead of tweeting, we're all sat there on video cameras, and we're having a visual meet, almost like a visual meeting room one day, perhaps, or something like that. And I think that'd be great for farmers. Farmers have always been good at communicating, their ideas and their farming systems. Discussion groups have always been proven that. But at the end of the day, technology helps you, do that and save time as well.
Buy the ticket, take the ride. In terms of people jumping on board with this, how does somebody get started? I mean, how much do you know about the people who are actively engaging at the moment? Is there a profile? Do they tend to be young? Do they fit across the age spectrum? Type of farming or a location across New Zealand?
We've got people all over the country, and that's the exciting bit. And from all parts of farming and non-farmers too. That's the other great thing, is that reaching out to urban New Zealand. That's the other positive thing, is we want to talk to people in the cities and communicate with them, and to have them on Wednesday night come along to Twitter and join us and ask questions about what's going on, and find out. It's really exciting.
So how would you get started? What advice would you give someone who says, "Well, this sounds interesting. I'll give it a go"?
So the first thing, I think there's two things really, is obviously go onto Twitter and choose your profile and your name and get an account, and that would be the main thing. And then the next thing really is to start following. If you can think of one person that is on Twitter, even if you know one, just go to who their followers are. So click on their followers and just go through them and start following some of their followers. So that might be me, it might be you, or somebody they know, and that will give you some people suddenly that will follow you. And for the AgChat thing, the best thing to do is to hashtag AgChatNZ, and that will give you all the information. And the other one is an @ sign at AgChatNZ1, and that's our account that we use to operate from on Twitter. We've also got a website, so www.agchatnz.org.nz, and that has a step-by-step information on there about how to engage on Twitter, and just some helpful hints on how to use it.
Brilliant. Colin, thanks very much. It's good to talk to you, and it was good to catch up and meet you at Field Days through Twitter, and hopefully more people will do the same. We'll keep in touch in the future.
No problem. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Ranger.
Thanks for your time, Colin.
Cheers.
This interview was brought to you in association with Rabobank.